You are listening to Viewpoints from Place Cloud. Cultural researchers tell stories of places from around the world. For the full multimedia experience and to support the creators you enjoy, visit placecloud.io.
We're standing at the entrance to a narrow pedestrian street called Harp Alley, located just off Fleet Street in the City of London. It was in a large meeting room in this alley that John Groom founded the Watercress and Flower Girls Christian Mission in 1866. The watercress sellers and flower girls of London, who were actually often flower women, were seen to be one of the most precarious classes of the working poor at this time. The Flower Girls Mission sought to alleviate both the material and spiritual poverty of this class. A chief concern amongst the evangelical missionaries was that because the flower women had to be in the market by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to buy their flowers, and didn't return home until late in the evening, that they would be shut out from administrations of the clergy and home Bible visitors. A clubroom in Harp Alley was thus established, located in between the markets at Farringdon and Covent Garden, where flower women went to purchase their flowers. Early morning breakfasts were provided 3 times a week, with cocoa and bread and butter, with between 80 and 100 flower women in attendance. There was space for the women to arrange their flowers whilst listening to Bible readings before they went out to sell their wares on the streets, walking many miles in all weathers. The aim of the Flower Girls Mission was to rescue the young women who had been brought up in rough streets, ready to, and I quote, swell the ranks of paupers and criminals. For girls in particular, the London slums were seen as dangerous and immoral spaces, such that it was written that it is a marvel that any of them ever passed through the experience and retained a spark of womanhood. The romance of the flowers that they sold attached itself to the women themselves. As one report from 1882 reads, "Are not these young women like the violets, lilies, and roses they pass their days selling? Does not the pinching frost of adversity, or the burning sun of temptation, chill or wither them, until they fade away in their bloom, or are cast aside as soiled refuse?" The mission tried hard to discriminate between worthy or bona fide flower girls and those who allegedly pretended to sell flowers because they were too lazy to work, bringing discredit upon the more deserving characters. As the mission expanded from its first clubroom in Harp Alley, it turned its attention to more preventative measures to combat the ever-present temptations of alcohol and prostitution which women were exposed to on the streets. All efforts were therefore centred on removing orphan or abandoned girls from the streets to try and reach them spiritually whilst also training them for domestic service. The Flower Girls Mission operated by that favourite Victorian value of self-help, in the belief that the surest means of helping the poor was to teach them to help themselves. John Groom later established an industrial training home for poor disabled children in Clerkenwell, where they were trained in artificial flower making, in the hopes of becoming self-dependent later in life. From its roots in the Harp Alley Flower Girls Clubroom, John Groom's charity continued to work with the disabled throughout the 20th century, until it merged with the Shaftesbury Society in 2007 to form the Christian disability charity Livability.